step. I'm like, oh, I'm ready to go. Nope. There we go. Stuck on everything. Must be Sunday. If you're watching this, you must be a member. Or you're watching a replay and you want to become a member. That way on next Sunday you can talk to me live. Bring the chaos of setup. So wait some folks to roll in. I'm going to do the typing green tea from High. I really like this one. I forgot the letter. No, usually just grab what's around me these days, and I'm like, oh wait, I see the shiny package, and I think that's somebody that I really like. This is from unionsourcing.com. You can get it from the .org site too, I believe. They have a U.S. company and one in China. I have the wrong type of pot to brew her because she is these big, beautiful, flattened tea leaves that really remind me of like seaweed and look anyhow. And usually use a big clear vessel so you can see them float. But I'm going to be as sacrilegious as I normally am and break her apart to fit her in my pot. Hear that sound? People crying that are super into tea. Sometimes I add fruit to my tea and stuff too. Okay, so she's in there. Hey everybody, my voice is not coming through good. Okay, how about that? Did that help? Maybe it wasn't up enough. He's coming to tell me that my voice also isn't coming through. Let me see if I've got everything plugged.
Yeah, it's like all choppy and skippy.
Okay. Well, let's see if getting rid of the... Hold on with me here. Let's see if getting rid of the microphone helps. Find out. Okay. What's funny is I got that mic because people... Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be... Well, that's good. I just can't stand my phone up. I know I can see people's comments. I just can't hold my phone this way. Okay. Hold on. Bear with me. This charger is so stupid big that it doesn't let me put my phone on a holder. Now I'm going to try to force it down. Nope. This is a type of day I'm having. Here, look at my ceiling for a second. Let's see if this one will work. No. No, it didn't work. It didn't work. I'm trying to be smarter than the fucking technology right now, and it is not going great for me. I have an idea. Bear with me. Bear with me. Swear to God. So, my problem is fucking life. Let me see if I can be smarter than the machine. At least. Okay. Jeez. That's what we're getting. Now, usually I had switched over to the microphone because people said that they can't hear me when I use my phone. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what was going on with the microphone. I think it might be my phone, actually. It's having a hard time when I connect to stuff. Goddamn, I am having a month, and I don't even know where I'm at. Making tea, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, let's cool that way down to like 170. Whew. Okay. Let's make some tea. Yeah, no, I've been having, I'm going through what's called positive disintegration, and so, like, everything is a thing. I'm just like, fuck this, fuck that. This doesn't need to be like that, and that doesn't need to be like this, and burn that, and throw that out, you know? But yeah, it's just kind of been that type of situation. Let's go to all messages so I see everybody. So, Everybody having a good Sunday. I hate that I can't adjust it, so you guys are gonna. It does not matter to you at all. But like, I don't like that I can see the top right here of the wall for some reason. It just bugs the shit out of my brain. But that is what it is. This is like not really a. I mean, it is and isn't a room. Like the people before us built like a 1990s office with a computer desk where they put up like the fake wall partition, right? And we just never took it out because it kind of makes it like a room, and so I turned it into like my little office area, right? Um, but as you can see, it doesn't connect, so there's like a big gap up there type of situation, you know. But yeah, so we're gonna have some tea, and then we're gonna do a Q&A, and then we're gonna probably not share this one publicly since I had a fucking fight with my microphone. uh, but yeah, one thing I have been working on is a while back I announced that I wanted to start doing like these like one-on-one research consultations for members, like as like a giveaway gift. Like I randomly select one person that's at a certain member level to get like a free little half an hour thing from me, and then I had my world explode, and so I didn't have like the cognitive wherewithal to like deal with that on top of like the huge amounts of stress. And so I'm kind of coming through that now, and I was able to get like the Google form set up for that. So now I'm just at the point where I have to figure out how. So like I could pull all of the members from the $4.99 level, which is what that part would be for, and see, you know, and like put them into like a random comment picker. I can do that no problem. But my problem is YouTube doesn't let you. YouTube doesn't let you message people, not really, and people don't even check it when they did have messaging options. And so I'm thinking about I'm having to do like a post where, you know, somebody says yes, I want to ask a question or whatever, and then I can like, and they have to like drop their email address or something. I'm trying to figure that part out. That's the part that my brain is at now. um, but um, but yeah, and as a reminder, because I know my admin isn't here, I start answering questions once I've had a little cup of tea. And I know you can't really see. I don't think I have anything else that I can prop underneath, but maybe one more book. Hold on. This little tiny book. Maybe just one more book will get me tall enough. Yeah, one more book got me tall enough to where you can kind of see my tea set. But yeah, so I'm just trying to figure that out, and then we'll start doing like a. It's gonna be so. I don't want to do like a health consultation. I know that. I know that everybody wants me to do like specific health consultations, but there's so many liability risks there, and I thought, well, what you guys actually like about me, without realizing it, is how much I research things. And so I thought, well, I could do a research consultation. You tell me one thing about your health or that you're interested in general, that's in my area of things I work with, and then I could do like a deep dive research and give you like this one-page PDF of like everything I found and everything that I found interesting and things to consider and things like that. And then we can hop on a Zoom call for half an hour and talk about like what we found in the research, right? So it's more like us discussing research. But inevitably that I feel like that would empower people better. My hair is gonna fall down, I can tell. That would empower people more than just like trying to do like a health consultation where I tell them exactly what to do. And I felt like that matched more of what makes me who I am than just handing somebody like an idea, if that makes sense. Um, and so I'm hopeful to have that figured out by sometime next week, and then start. I think I'll probably start just drawing winners and like have them stacked up, if that makes sense. And I'll try once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. I have to get into the rhythm of it. you know, and then if I find that it doesn't kill me and make me feel dead inside, I might offer it like as a service that people could purchase too. But I don't know. I wanna get a feel for it first, and it wouldn't be like members would have to purchase it. I just think it's kind of a cool perk to offer for people that do become a member. You know. But yeah, so I had all that planned and you know was excited about it. Months ago. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to talk about like the thing that happened, but it's pretty rough. You know, and so it's just been kind of one of those things that I'm like slowly recovering from. Uh, and I'm not one to not talk about things. So if I can't talk about it because of what somebody did to me, it's pretty bad, you know. But I don't know. Let's have this tea and answer some questions. And I love, she's so clear. Look at how, like, clear that, what they call soup is. She's just so bright. And I'm glad that I remembered that I loved her. um, you wish I could go to school and become a physician? I'd make monthly appointments with you for my mama. Yeah, if I did that, I'd lose my license. I would get in so much trouble for all the things I say and do. And, you know, I had a friend, I guess I consider her a friend. She was like my doctor for 20 years, 15 years or so. OBGYN. I was talking about like going to like school to do that, and she was like, don't do it. She's like, you wouldn't be able to be like anything you are. They would completely like censor you. Like you would be so like held down. And I'm like, yeah, it's true, you know. Um, okay, so if you got a question, say question, and I will start dumping my brain out, and we'll see what happens. Um, but yeah, I think people would like the idea. I feel like a research consultation ends up answering people's questions in a more complex or comprehensive way than the average, like, oh, here's what I think you should do, versus being like, here's what I think you should know, if that makes sense. You know, I just think it would be different and more empowering for people. Question, Mallow. I have several plants growing wild in my yard. What are her uses and best way to take her? Thank you. Um, Mallow is pretty great. She's a cooling, like mucus loving herb, meaning like your mucosal membranes, like so all the way from your nose to your throat, all the way down at your butt and where you pee, and if you're a woman, down between. All that's mucosal, like membrane area. And that means that basically your body has built like a specific barrier between that part of your body and the rest of your body. You know, kind of how like your womb and your vagina are like its own little ecosystem completely separate from the rest of the body in terms of what can get in or out of, right? And so when we use mallow, we really protect those barriers, but that also means she's really good for things like leaky gut, gut repair, heartburn in general, you know, esophagus type issues. But she's super cooling too. So if you have like a really hot disposition, you feel overheated all the time, she's pretty good for that. She's great for sore throats, anything inflamed and inflammatory. Right now, normally you're going to get the most benefits from her in that way if you dig up the root in the fall, chop it up, dry it, and then use that to make an infusion, which is just a long brewed tea, right? But mallow tincture does have pretty good ability for like anti-inflammatory, and if you pick those little seed head looking green things that are on her, you can make actual like marshmallows if you want. That's where marshmallows, mallow get their name from. It came from the mallow plant traditionally. um okay, so question, I walk everywhere, but I almost think I lost one up here. Question, benefits of mulberry. She's tasty. The leaves have a lot of tannins, you know, and she has tannins in general. And what's really interesting is even though she's a tree and not like blackberry, all of those intercombined tend to have the ability to like help with like cramping or diarrhea and things like that just because of the tannins. You could say the same thing about grape leaves. Question. I walk everywhere and I have what I think is a bone bruise on my left heel. Is there something I can use at night to help with the pain? Oh, that's a rough one. You could try doing like a compress of like arnica gel. Like you could just put arnica gel on there and it would dry down, but then it wouldn't be as active as if like you had some arnica gel and you put it, let's say, on like a piece of gauze and then wrapped it around it so it stayed moist, if that makes sense. You could also try witch hazel. People think of witch hazel as like an old school face cleaner, but what it really started as is an astringent for livestock injuries. And so you can use that on yourself just like you're an injured animal, and it would probably pull down the inflammation in that area. Question. An embarrassing one anyway. Any way to cure HPV cancer but no carrier but no outbreaks? I'm a male, or at least prevent spread. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Yeah, I mean, I think people, a vast majority of humans have some variety of herpes virus, regardless if it's, HPV, shingles, EBV, actual genital herpes. So there's no reason to be embarrassed because we're all walking around with it in one way or the other. And when it comes to herpes viruses, I talked about it in my last live, but they're all really big pussies. Meaning they really only surface when your immune system is already ran down, right? So if you are working with herbs that support your immune system as well as like to attack things in the herpes related virus, it's no big deal to repress them, right? And so you can work with Self Heal Plant on a regular basis. She's fantastic for pushing down EBV. If you're not on any medications, you could then cycle through with St. John's wort. She's not in the mint family like Self Heal, but she's really, really, really good in particular at repressing basically all herpes viruses. But she doesn't really interact with medications so much as she speeds up your liver function, which can strip your medications out of your system. Although she can interact with SSRIs and such like that because she does raise serotonin, right? So you don't want to end up with serotonin syndrome. Another one is lemon balm. She's in the mint family, but she can repress thyroid function if you use her all the time. So you could like cycle through these, get it, and then start working with something daily like I don't know, like turkey tail mushroom or even elderberry or like reishi mushroom, just about supporting that immune system and also dealing with stress because most herpes viruses like to live off of cortisol like it's food. So, and for anybody who has EBV, yeah, it is eating you alive just because you're feeding it cortisol. Right, that's just kind of the way the herpes viruses work. That's why when people are super stressed out, they get shingles. Right, your immune system dropped, your cortisol rose, and it says, yay, we can finally break free and come out of the nerve endings and do what we're going to do. But before that, they weren't strong enough to. You had to help them with your own stress. Okay, thank you so much for the super Sandra Dewey. Question. I ran across a linden tree. I have heard about some uses. Is she a good medicinal? Yeah, linden, she is amazing. I have quite a few videos on her. She is super amazing for daily like immune support, cooling inflammation. She can help with cramps, IBS. She's good for fever. She's safe enough for kids. And she's just all in all overlooked, which is a shame because she's everywhere because people like the way she looks and smells when she blooms. You can make a tincture, you can make an infusion, you could make a tea, you could make infused vinegar. She's super tasty and overall like a really good pick for just like daily like immune and even cardiovascular support. Okay, let's see. Any herbs that are helpful for smoking, for quitting smoking? Yeah, okay. So the thing to know about quitting smoking is that you've got nicotine receptors in your brain, which is why we get addicted to it and why it's so hard to quit because your brain's like, right? And so you can start tricking your brain with another plant that doesn't have nicotine but has like, it's like nicotoic or nic something acid in it. So it hits the same receptors in the brain, and that is sunflower seeds. Now I know a lot of people are like, oh, just chew on some sunflower seeds to keep your hands busy, and that's not completely invalid. But if you really want to help yourself, you gotta go get yourself some unshelled sunflower seeds so you can just eat them. Try eating at least a cup a day, working your way up to that if your stomach is sensitive versus just slamming a cup in a day, right? And start eating these sunflower seeds every single day for like a week before you start to slowly cut down on your smoking. So what happens is you might even find that you crave less and less because you are already hitting those receptors in your brain. And then you could get yourself some mullein and like some rolling paper and some loose leaf tobacco, right? And start rolling your own cigarettes that are blended with mullein. You might not like it very much if you're used to the filtered stuff, or you could buy the filtered tubes in the little machine that makes the cigarettes too. But you can slowly start getting rid of less and less of the tobacco and more of the mullein on top of the sunflower seeds, and then you can work on breaking the habit after the addiction. Never try to like stop cold, like you have to like break the physical habit like after you break the physical addiction, if that makes sense. Okay, so question. I finally have a bottle of 100 proof vodka. What are the top 5 herbs and mushrooms I should use to make a tincture? What are the top 5 herbs that are growing around you? You know, that's a good thing to consider because, like, I could rattle off things that I like, but they might be different to you. And my goal is for you to be like super empowered enough in your area and self-dependent as an herbalist, even if you're just practicing for yourself. And so like I encourage you to step outside. It's peak growing season right now everywhere, especially if you're anywhere in the northern hemisphere and it's summertime for you. You can see who is showing up for you, and you don't have to be overwhelmed about it. There's probably a lot growing around you right now. If you're in the deep inner city, consider working with like culinary herbs because you can get those fresh year round. You could work with, you know, oregano, rosemary, lavender. You could even work with garden sage, thyme. All these things have fantastic medicinal values. So even if you don't have access to the land, these are things that you can work with fresh any time of the year, really, because people want them for culinary use. Okay, so thank you so much for the super Gina question. I'm 58. I got the thing going around in 2020. This caused my memory to become extremely poor. I'm able to keep my job only because it's all muscle memory. Any advice? Yeah, you probably had some nutrition knocked out of you with it. You might want to work with something like rosemary and lion's mane if you haven't already to help increase blood flow to the area, knock down inflammation, support neural pathway like development, but also make sure that you're getting enough healthy animal fats. Your brain really needs fat to function, right? Well, we need glucose. It'll die at any moment if it doesn't have glucose, but fat like really nourishes the brain as well, right? It's why when people go on statins and things like that, they end up with dementia because it strips all the cholesterol out of your body, right? But I think rosemary and lion's mane would be a good place to start. And if you haven't had like a comprehensive nutrient panel done, or if you haven't like tried to work with like magnesium glycinate or something like that, it would certainly be something that's worth looking into. Okay. Oh, also, I came across an interesting study a while back, forever ago, when I had a concussion and was dealing with like borderline TBI stuff, where red light therapy really helped improve cognitive function. And so that might be also something to look into. Okay, so question. After the first frost last fall, I harvested 2 gallons of rose hips. Life happened and I had to put them in the freezer. Can I use them to infuse in oil? Should I dehydrate them first? You could use them to make a tincture or an elixir because they're fresh. I mean, they've already had their cellular structure broken by being frozen, so that's a fantastic option. But you could also make a nice infused oil if you'd want to, but you would want to dry them first so your oil doesn't go rancid, especially with berries because they will hold a lot of moisture in the center of them. And if you have a lot, you could do both. You could do a tincture or an infused oil, you know. And so those are great things to do. You could dry them for tea too. But I like an elixir, and that's just a tincture where you add a bit of honey to it of rosehip. But rosehip oil is also like pretty lush. You know, like she smells really good, especially when she's made with like freshly dried versus like the industrial stuff they sell. Okay, so let's see. I have an idea. Have 499 members email you a list of issues they want you to know. See, I can't do that because I'll read the rest of it. They want you to do a deep dive info. Ranked choice voting would be perfect for this. Publish the list for the group too. See, the problem with that is it's not fair because a person who has a less popular question would never get their question answered, and so it would just be ranked by popularity. And if I do it by a general like drawing of names, it's more fair that way. But also, I cannot open it up to where people can just email me blanketly like that because I will get, and I love you guys so much, but I will get huge like paragraph upon paragraph and unasked for pictures of like things that are growing on bodies by people. And so I have to have a lot of boundaries here for both making it like fair for all but also like safe for me, right? And so what it'll be is I will probably do something where I figure out a way to draw the people right. But then I have a Google Doc created that I'll send you, and on that Google Doc, it'll tell you the rules. But then you click a link and you fill out a Google form, so you have space to give me your information, specific questions that I need to ask you. But it's also like a boundary because it's not an open invitation to like send me like a 15-page report about your medical history, if that makes sense, because it's a research consultation, not like a deep dive health consultation. But I see where you're coming from. I just don't think it would end up being like fair for people because it would be like picking the most popular versus everybody's question having a fair chance. Um, Question: feeling really overwhelmed and stressed cutting out every possible source of soy, PUFA, etc. Should I also worry about pasture raised chicken eggs that were supplemented with soy as feed? Yeah, take a breath, and it's really easy to feel that way. So that's why I'm like, one battle at a time. I would rather know that you're not eating like potato chips that are dripping in sunflower seed oil or safflower or anything like that, right? Like all this stuff that goes rancid after they've made it, right? Then worrying about if your chickens have a completely soy free diet, because here's the thing, if you go deep enough down that rabbit hole, you will have people that don't even eat chicken eggs, that don't even eat nuts or anything like that because it has PUFA in it. The thing you really need to be afraid of is the processed PUFA oils, right? I'm not worried about nuts, I'm not worried about eggs, I'm not worried about salmon in the context of the oil that's in it. I'm not worried about that type of stuff. I'm worried about the mechanically separated oil that's rancid and then gets bleached so you don't smell it and then gets put on a shelf and it's like 10 years old already, right? I'm worried about that. I'm worried about how they add this to all of our food. So, I would just focus on what you can immediately avoid by reading a label. And it gets a little easier as you get more accustomed to finding what you are able to buy, and every now and then you're like, hey, there's nothing bad in here, right? And what you're able to cook for yourself and how you're able to replace it and things like that. But I feel you. It can be like super, super overwhelming. But I don't think nature makes mistakes. I think man does. Now, if we can eventually get to the point where we are eating soy free eggs, that's really cool. I have tons of chickens and quail, and I can't really afford the feed that's soy free. It's crazy. It's like something like $55, $65 for a 40-pound bag, and like I don't know about you, but like I can't I can't pony that out. Also, my goats eat corn, right? Like, and so but I do try to go for like the more grain based stuff that I'm feeding everybody out there, on the farm. But yeah, just one step at a time, and I'm more worried about like the man-made mechanically separated stuff. Hi, do you sell your tinctures? I cannot seem to find them on the website. Yeah, I haven't sold tinctures for, gosh, I think a couple of years now. I have a bunch that I need to bottle up and put in the shop, and I was working with someone a while back on like having them help me outsource, but it's like the minimum order quantity for that place is like 5,500 bottles of just one type, like not split across different varieties. so, so it's really rough, and so I've just been leaning pretty heavily into the synergism capsules. But the good news is tinctures are really easy to make, and they just are so easy to make that anybody can do them. Really, you can. Um, I just received your book. Can't wait to read it. Well, thank you so much for your support. I generally appreciate it. Question: any advice on making a materia medica? Love the idea, but don't know how to start or what I should put in it. Do you have one of yourself, or just keep knowledge all in your head? It's pretty much in my head. I mean, of course, I've got like the books I wrote and things like that. But also I have dysgraphia, so for me when I write, I look like a drunken child and it hurts my hand about a paragraph in. So that's where, like, it's a type of dyslexia, but my brain and my hand don't communicate, so I hold the fucking pencils, like, or whatever, really hard, and it's just not a good experience for me. And so, but that's really all you need to do is you need yourself, like, a cheap spiral notebook and your curiosity and to step outside your own door, see who's growing, who you're interested in, what you've learned about her. You could do it like collage style, cut out some pictures, print some pictures, whatever, draw a picture, and just leave space per each one. So, like, let's say you start with plantain. You might be able to fill what you know about plantain on just one page right now, but as you like grow your relationship over the years working with her, leave yourself 3 or 4 blank pages, because you might write down, I used her for this and this is how it helped. Right. So leave space, but really it's just journaling. It's just journaling, and if you're fancy, you could mash it up with scrapbooking and make it look really pretty. But don't write it for anybody else. Write it for yourself. I see a lot of people do that, where they like want to make it look like really impressive, and they're worried about it looking right and correct and to standards. But ultimately, you or your family are going to be who are looking at it. So make it make sense for that, not the world at large. Okay, question. Last one, I promise. uh, Next check, I will be buying your set of books. I'd love to give one to a young friend that's excited to learn. Which of your books would suggest I order as an extra? Um, well, a good one would be like, depending on how young they are, right? I don't know how young they are, but like, if they're just getting started, it would be easier for them to do like where is it at? Let's see, either the teas, brews, and infusions or herbal infused oils. But remember, these ones are methods books, so this tells you how like to do like the base foundation of the things, but you have to pick out the herbs you're using. But these would be a good place to start, because there's like not alcohol involved, assuming they're under 21. They can't go buy like a bottle of vodka to make tinctures, but they can make herbal infused oils, and they can make all the teas and brews and elixirs and things, and infusions. So that would probably be a pretty good place to start. And it would be kind of cool, because they can apply that to like whatever they're interested in herb wise, or what is growing around them, right? And if you buy the whole book set, you'll also have the common herbs for common people. And if they're nearby you, they could always flip by these to see which herb they might want to work with for like a tea or an infused oil. Okay, so question: if you pick the rose petals, can you freeze them, or would freezing them damage them? You can pick them and you can freeze them, and it will damage them, but that's a good thing. So, plants have a cellular structure, and you need to break down that cellular structure. That's the point of like tincturing, or even infusing in oil, or cooking. You are breaking open that rigid cellular structure to get access to what's inside. Now, petals are pretty soft, so they don't need to be broken down very much. But when you do break them down, they tincture a little bit faster and things like that. Now, if you're wanting to dry them for tea, I wouldn't freeze them first, because that would make them kind of funky when they dry. I would just dry them right away if you were doing that. Okay, so I've got a golf ball size skin tag. Dang, that's a big one. Any suggestions or a natural remedy to remove it? I wonder how thick the base is. You know, sometimes with those, it's easiest way if it's that big and the base is really thin on the bottom. Sometimes it's easy just to snip them. I know that sounds horrible and there'll be some blood. But if you go into a doctor's office, they're just going to snip it. So if you have something like yarrow tincture on hand or kaolin clay, but if it's not small enough that you can snip it or freeze it off, you could also work with like Lugal's iodine topically. I've seen people like kill moles and stuff with that. Takes about a week or two and it'll get ugly and it'll scab, but eventually it'll fall off. I've seen people, I think, use apple cider vinegar to the same effect. Eventually, or essentially, you are just killing off the skin cells until they drop off. Um, Question: Calendula, whole plant, blossom, leaves, root, blossom. Blossom is what you're after with calendula. Um, I've been using the memory bundle for about a week and I'm starting to notice a change. A bit of memory coming back. I'm really, really happy to hear that. Yeah, I mean, I can't even take credit. I've just put the herbs together, but they're doing the work, you know. But I think that a lot of people really underestimate like rosemary, lion's mane, California poppy, ginkgo, and all that type of stuff for memory support. Yes, the books are available as PDF. Well, they're an ebook, so they're actually like an EPUB file to read on an ebook thing. But if you buy them and you really need a PDF, you could reach out to us over customer service, and we could send them to you as a PDF too. Could you do a video showing all of your jewelry and bags, etc.? That would be so cute. Yeah, I probably could, but most of my jewelry is in this like dusty little glass terrarium box. Like I don't, and it's kind of like jumbled, and I have to like dig through it. I don't have a cute system, and I really only have two purses. I have this one that I haven't used in a long time, and then I have the other one that I carry around. I have a few other like backpacks that I gather with, but I do have a video about that already. Okay, so, well, it looks like we've hit the end of the questions, and looks like I've been jabbering for about, 40 minutes, 30 minutes, so I think I'm going to jump off and get about the rest of the day of my Sunday. I've got a family barbecue coming up to celebrate my birthday, even though my birthday was on the 17th, so I'm kind of excited about that. And I'm really grateful that you're here with me. I'm so grateful for your support. It really means the world to me. If you're a future person and I happen to release this and you would like to, become a member and support my ability to teach freely, it's literally only 99 cents a month at like the lowest level, and you get access to these members only Q&As on Sunday. But if you can't afford to join, don't worry, I do them on Fridays too for everybody to watch. These are just a little I'm not calmer, but the comment section is calmer. So also check out my apothecary. I've got all kinds of things, including books. And make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and share. My brain is just fried. And share, because it really helps other people like realize that they're smart enough to do this, and it tells the algorithm that I'm a pretty cool person. So thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.